Are you in control of your own mind? Lust is a normal human emotion, but when left unchecked, that's when all the issues and consequences start to creep in. When we start to push boundaries, when we start to go against our own morals and values, that's when lust becomes a problem. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Oleka, also known as Custard Pot, and on this channel I explore folklore, myths, history, spooky stories, and of course mental health. And today I want to explore the concept of lust and the demon associated with it. Asmodeus. Asmodeus is a demon who's been around for more than 4,000 years. In Persian mythology, he was known as Ashma. If you don't say the name like that, correct me. And originally, he was known as the demon of chaos and wrath. And he would stir up people's desires and push them into destructive behaviours. And then between the 3rd century BCE and the 6th century BCE, there was a cultural blend between Persian culture and Jewish culture, and then he became known as Asmodeus, the demon of lust. And he would push people to act on impulses that they would normally be able to control. So for example, you see someone that you're attracted to and you know that they're in a relationship. Usually that person would be off limits. You'd think, what, they're in a relationship, they're attractive, sweet. Asmodeus is that voice in the brain that's like, are they happy in a relationship? Maybe I can get them to be unfaithful. That is the voice of Asmodeus. That demon is sitting there small on your shoulder, and the more you give into it and you feed it and listen to it, the stronger that demon becomes, and the bigger and the louder it becomes, and the harder it becomes to control. And we must be aware, because we don't want a feeling to consume who we are, because that's where things get dangerous. There can be severe consequences. Unchecked and uncontrolled, that feeling, that intense desire, intense lust and temptation can lead us to make choices that we later regret, and can lead us to go against our own morals and values. And that's what Asmodeus has been doing for centuries. He's been perched on people's shoulders, tempting them, multiplying the temptation of the thing that you know that you should not do. He's been sitting there perched on people's shoulders for centuries and centuries, destroying people's lives. But besides the concept of demons and angels and religion, psychologically, when we experience lust, our brain literally releases dopamine, which a lot of people know as the feel-good chemical. So the feeling and the reaction that we get from eating our favourite food or winning a game, completing a book, like that feeling that we get is dopamine. It tells our brain, like, this is the feeling that you get for doing that thing. And when we feel it, we want it more. When we experience a sexual desire or lust, the same chemical gets released. Dopamine doesn't just make us feel pleasure, it also has a play in motivation. So when we feel pleasure, dopamine also motivates us to want to feel it more. So then we get hooked on that act that made us feel that emotion. So then we want to repeat the act that made us feel that thing. And that's where addiction can literally occur. Addiction. We can become addicted to lust, basically. So we can lust for a person, a substance, gambling. So just imagine you're in a situation and you're feeling temptation for a person, just something else, or power. Normally you could weigh your options and then make a decision based off, is this a good thing or is this a bad thing, pros and cons. When the temptation is that strong, we disregard the cons and we don't weigh up the options. We just go full force at the thing that we want. And that's when lust becomes an issue, and it's controlling us rather than us controlling it. And lust is all around us 24/7. It's hard to escape. It's in my opinion, out of the 7 sins, lust is the hardest to escape. Maybe I struggle with lust the most, but from my perspective, it is the hardest to control. Lust shows up in so many ways, and in a lot of our media, advertisements online, just everywhere around us, mostly in movies too. Pulp Fiction, for example, Mia and Vincent. So Mia is the girlfriend of a extremely powerful crime boss. Vincent works for that crime boss, and there's a scene where, you know, Vincent has to take Mia out, and you can feel the tension building between them. Vincent, he's got to control his desires because he knows the consequences that will come dealing with a crime boss's wife. But Asmodeus is on his shoulder throughout that movie, and he starts to give in to the temptation a little bit more. You know, the dance scene, some might say, you know, that's not really lust, but Vincent would face severe consequences if he took it further with Mia. Mia is a very tempting woman, and he gives in slightly to lust. If you haven't watched Pulp Fiction, you should watch it. It's a really good movie. Another one of my favourite movies, Black Swan. We see lust show up in a different way. The need to be perfect, the need for validation. We see Nina's descent into her madness and her need to perfect the black swan and white swan. It begins to eat away at her. So she's got that demon on her shoulder, that voice in her ear, Asmodeus, saying, if you don't get this right, you're not going to be respected. You're not good enough. Keep pushing, you need to do better. We see in the movie her lose touch of sanity. She starts hallucinating. She wants to perfect the role that much. She needs that validation. She needs that artistic perfection. Otherwise she doesn't feel validated. Another one of my favourite movies, Gone Girl. We see lust show up in a more manipulative way. Amy is a master manipulator. She not only manipulates her husband, but she manipulates the media and everyone in the town, and she manipulates them to her advantage by using the concept of lust. She manipulates her husband's lust for success. She manipulates the community's lust for scandal, and she manipulates the media's need for like drama and speculation. And these movies show how dangerous lust can be when there's no boundaries in place. We even see Asmodeus show up in a lot of luxury brands use lust as a selling point, because they don't just sell a product, they sell a lifestyle. If you're in this watch, if you're in this ring, if you're in this car, if you're in these earrings, you will be more important, you will be more respected, you mean something, you're more powerful. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of brands that are genuinely artistically beautiful, like Alexander McQueen, for example. He's got amazing shows that are out there. He's done some amazing shows before he passed. I am a fan of the how someone can take a concept out of their mind and use like a brand, a fashion brand, as a medium to show the creativity and the artistry and evoke emotion and thoughts and stuff like that. Similar with Gucci, like I love the aesthetic of Gucci, and to me it's impressive the way a brand can go through history and keep its prestige. But brands do use lust to sell us a lifestyle. When there's a desire to own and it's unchecked, that's where again there's the issues come in, because we funnel so much of our time and energy into chasing a material object. These things can become central to a person's identity, but that just means that they're becoming more lost, because a material object doesn't give worth to a person in reality. When you're lying down in bed at night, what do them things mean? And that little demon on your shoulder, that voice in your mind, Asmodeus, he thrives on that feeling, that endless cycle of wanting more. I must have more, I must have this thing that's going to fill a void, maybe for a few moments, but it fades and the cycle continues and you want more and more. The void is not getting filled. You are constantly looking for validation through material possessions, constantly. No matter how much you get, the void is not filled. No one's immune to these feelings. No one is immune to these feelings. For me, lust pops up a lot when it comes to women. The desire to possess and control. Not now, I've grown up and matured, but I did have a big issue with wanting to possess and control rather than being with someone equally. And when you want to possess and control someone, you subconsciously want to keep them close to try and make sure that they don't leave, because it's coming from a place of severe insecurity. But it just creates the opposite effect, because it leads to more tension, more arguments, ultimately more distance. And the more you try and exert control, the more insecure you become. It's just a horrible cycle, because it's like about maintaining and controlling and monitoring. If that goes unchecked, it can become very dangerous. And that's why I'm very happy that I've had the self-awareness to, be able to stop that in its tracks. Because when it comes to relationships and matters of the heart, for me personally, how I see things, that's probably the most dangerous type of lust, because you're taking your own insecurities out on someone else and you're attempting to control, and that never goes well. Amplifies insecurities, amplifies distance, amplifies just every negative emotion, really. So with this emotion, lust, this little devil on our shoulder, this little voice in our mind, Asmodeus character. If lust is a natural emotion, how do we control it from getting out of hand? When you feel a strong desire for something, you've got to pause, you've got to stop, and you've got to think, do I actually really want this thing? Or is it outside factors influencing me? You've got to really stop and pause and think with your own thoughts in your own mind. Do I want this thing? You've got to set boundaries. It's a massive one. You've got to be firm with your boundaries as well. When I'm talking about boundaries, it's like, don't let your actions go against your values and your morals. It doesn't matter who is trying to push you to break them boundaries. You've got to always come back to your own values and morals. And that's a good way of gripping lust and being like, you know what? I control you, you don't control me. Yeah, it's spiritual or mental health practices. I'm not religious, but I do meditate. It just grounds me. It reminds me that I don't need anyone's external validation. I don't need an object or a person to feel like I deserve a place in the world. Therapy obviously is a good one as well. Therapy can be hard to access, so mindfulness, praying, if you're religious, just grounding yourself, do you know what I mean? Just grounding yourself and realising there's just more to life. There's so many exciting things to learn and stuff like that. We don't need to be looking for people's validation. And balance is a big one. Have goals, but don't pressure yourself into needing to achieve them. I fall into that a lot, and that's where burnout comes too. Set yourself a big goal, break into small goals, or it doesn't have to be something about success. It could just be like, I'm going to get out of bed today. And remember, whether you believe in demons or not, the thoughts that we have are very real. And Asmodeus might just be a metaphor for like all of the inner struggles that we face. But the fact is, we do face the inner struggles, regardless of what analogy you want to use, or regardless of how you paint the picture. We do all have these emotions, and we must control ourselves, because we are responsible for our own actions. Maybe we all have that little demon inside of us, or maybe we're half demon or half angel. Who knows? It's about balancing the dark and the light. What we definitely are is human, and these are all human feelings, but they are controllable. Also, I challenge you to strip away the concept of lust from yourself. Peel back the layers. Ask yourself what you truly want in life. Are you in control of any portion of your own mind? And thanks for watching my video if you made it this far. If I made you think of a different concept, or if I've shifted your perspective in any way, let me know in the comments. And if lust pops up in your life in any way, shape or form, also let me know, because I love to read the comments. I love when, people start conversations and then other people reply to the other comments and stuff. It's interesting. I feel like it's just good, isn't it, to have a community to bounce ideas off, I suppose. But yeah, thanks for sticking around. Like, subscribe, comment. Thanks for watching. See you next time.